G'day everyone and welcome to Reliance Australia. A little while ago I built a screen in the garden, and part of it was to, I guess, hide the water tanks as you're driving down the driveway, so that wasn't the first thing you saw. But also it was to provide a bit of protection from the wind for the herb garden that I built a couple of years back. But anyway, due to using the incorrect materials, I wasn't treated timber. One of the beams snapped in high wind that we had down here on the property, and so this video I'll walk through how I go about repairing that. Bit of a rough repair, but anyway, it's now fixed, so let's get into it. So I've already done a bit of a start on this job, but what I need to do is fix up this screen. As you can see, there's a bit of a screen that we've built up, really to sort of hide the tanks, but more importantly, provide a bit of wind protection for the herb gardens that we've got going around. Probably need some work, but we've got some herb gardens going here. Anyway, look, I've used some timber there. It's rotted out. It's broken with the wind coming through. And what I'm attempting to do is just put a brace on the back. Not many people can see that. As you can see, these screws have come out all the way through. That's okay, I can live with that actually, because I'll just cut them off. But what I now need to do is that, even though, well, that feels pretty ordinary, I just need to clean these edges up here. So I'll basically just do a clean cut across there. So this will just slide in, as opposed to trying to make those two mesh together. And to do that, I've actually got a tool that I haven't had for very long. Like, I've probably had it for a couple of years now, I suppose, and you would have seen it on the channel before. And that is a little multi-tool, which is really interesting. And I will probably do another video on these at some stage. But this tool has just become invaluable in the way that I can use it and the type of things I can do with it. So I've really enjoyed having it. So I don't need to pull out a big saw or anything like that for that particular job. I'll just pull that out, and that'll do both the timber and cut off the screws as well. So it's a bit of a two-in-one. It's pretty good. That seemed easier in my head than I'm just doing that one-handed. So the plan from here is, if I can work my way around, so pull this in to here. I know I'm doing this one-handed. Yeah, pull that in like that fits. I will put a screw from the back so they'll hold. Then I'm going to try and put some screws in from the front, so we'll get this effect at the back, but I can cut them off. And the reason I want to do that is that if I have them coming through into the front and someone walks up against it, they're just as likely to get stabbed or cut with the screws hanging out the front. So I want to come from the front and go at the back and cut them off flush. Okay, so we got it screwed in. Like, I know that wasn't probably the best footage there, but and she's pretty rough. Okay, that's an understatement, but it's very rough. But by the time I get this back up, take some screws off, cut it off the back, it's looking like, well, it'll be looking better. So at this point I can actually take the clamp off because the brace is all screwed on, and that's now holding everything in place. And also what I'm starting to do here is actually remove the screws that I've put in from the back to the front. So I said earlier that I didn't want any of the screws poking out through the front, and look, it was just easier to remove the screws from the back than it was to try and cut them off. So the next step was then to start cutting the ends of the screws off, the ones that were poking out the back, so they weren't dangerous to anybody. Look, I just used the oscillating tool or multi-tool, whatever you want to call it. At one point I also brought out my Sawzall because I just wanted to have a play with it. But anyway, I'm just cut them off flush so they were nice and safe for anyone that was going to be walking past them. So this is what the screen is meant to look like before it all fell down. So I'm reasonably happy with that. Look, it's not the neatest, cleanest job, and look, even when you look at the way it's built, yeah, I know it's rough, and I know it's actually probably really rough, but look, I built it out of what I had available. Look, I haven't spent any money on materials for this, I just had stuff lying around. So these posts were already here. I took an old fence down that we didn't need anymore. These are just bits of ply that I had lying around. These, even this shadow clapboard, which probably held up the best out of all of it, was already here on the property when we got here. You can see this piece here, that was actually off the house. That was a board that had started to rot and got waterlogged, and I had to replace it. But that particular section was okay, so I've just put it up there as a bit of a screen. Now this bit was actually off an old pallet. You can see the screw holes in it. Pallets, you gotta love them. Free timber. And look, that will now brace that broken piece. It's on the back, so it doesn't really look that bad, as long as you don't look behind the curtain. So that's what it looks like on the front. So come up all right. So I'm pretty happy with the way that's come up. It's going to be, you know, a lot safer than it was before. I just need to secure that little screen now, and we should be good to go. So tick the box on that one. So there you go, another job is done, and look, I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. Now it looks probably a little bit rough on the back of it, but at the front it looks okay. And as I mentioned earlier, look, I did build that out of stuff that I just had lying around, which is why that beam failed in the first place, because it wasn't treated timber. But in the end, it's done the job, and I'm pretty happy. So if you've enjoyed that, please give us the big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button. Now, if this is something you want to see regularly, you can also hit the notification bell, and that way you'll get notifications when they come out each week. So I hope you enjoyed that, and until next time, I'll see you then.